right, we're back. This is John.
Hey, it's Paul.
And it's Eric.
And Ray.
And it's What If Geeks. And it's flowing beautifully. Right. Yay. We got all 4 wheels on the ground now. Right. Look at that. I like that. All right, so this is, again, Tuesday, the 3rd of December, and we're into our Geekly Weekly. So, that's... how's everybody doing, by the way? We haven't established that yet in the last 2 episodes.
Did we talk about Thanksgiving?
No.
Well, John and I did.
Hi, by the way, Thanksgiving.
Oh, after Thanksgiving.
After Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right, let's do it.
Yeah, how was everybody's Thanksgiving? Paul, give us a shout out. Since you got humped by a dog or some shit when we were talking to you before.
by blue tick hounds. Really good.
It was really good. It was really good.
We're going to talk punctuations. Yeah. You need a period.
I almost had one. I was getting humped by the dog so hard. No, good holiday. Ate too much, obviously, as I'm sure everyone does. Family, uneventful. My wife's family, when they get together, it sort of stresses my wife out because there's sort of underlying tension and stuff between her and her brother and whatever.
Sure.
Everyone sort of snipes at one another, and they don't speak kindly to each other. And so it went through.
It's your basic Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it was basic Thanksgiving. There was a lot of booze, which helps.
It does.
And drove home. It's normally before kids, you could make that drive in 8-ish hours. Now it's 9 and change. We broke it up on the way there over 2 days, so that we could get there Tuesday early afternoon. We left Saturday morning early enough to get to Tallahassee to find a sports bar so my wife could watch the Auburn-Alabama game. She is an Alabama fan, and that started going badly, so we decided to leave and drive the rest of the way home. I listened to the Florida State game on the radio, which was fine. Got home Saturday night and then started decorating for Christmas on Sunday. So, good times.
Yeah, so as we know, I cooked.
Oh, how'd that go?
Oh, yeah, how'd that go?
We saw pictures.
Well, everybody's alive. Everybody's alive. So,
but were they fed?
Yeah, it was good. And everybody ate leftovers for like 2 days. Nice. So apparently everything was good. So I had to kiss my ass.
Very nice.
Yeah, so it went well here. Then we, what else did we do? Kind of hung around, bullshitted around the house, whatever. Then Sunday we went to the Kennedy Space Center.
Yeah, I saw.
To go hang out there. Oh, that was a lot of fun.
Oh, I took 4 kids under the age 8 and under to see Frozen 2.
We'll get into that here in this Geekly Weekly.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
4 kids in a movie theater.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, good times.
Glad those days are over.
How was your Thanksgiving?
It was different. We've talked about this before. I got a huge family, and we've always done massive Thanksgivings for the last, 7 years. We've hosted at our house. This was the first year we did small, and we just hung out with friends. We did not go back to the brutal cold of Illinois because I am done with it. But it was good. It was good. I made a handful of sides to take over there, and they did the rest of the food. Everything was wonderful. And then that after dinner, I tried to start watching The Irishman.
Mm-hmm.
Fell asleep like an hour into it, so I had to pick that up the next day.
Nice. How about you, Ray?
I had a good Thanksgiving, but it was a pre-Thanksgiving, I guess, because, of course, my wife and I work for the theme park industry, so we had ours last Sunday at my mother-in-law's house up in Leesburg, and we had a great dinner, and both my daughters were there, which is unusual because I don't see them usually in the same room anymore because they have separate lives and different phase of our life right now. So, and my granddaughter was there, which was awesome, and we had a great time, and that was pretty much it. It was a great dinner, though, so can't complain. Didn't have to cook it.
Right, well, there you go. See, I cooked.
That's a huge plus.
For someone who normally doesn't cook and just eats the food that's put in front of me, it was fun.
Yeah.
It was cool. But, so, all right, cool. Everyone had a good Thanksgiving. Absolutely. And now we are in the midst of Christmas.
Right.
We're ready.
Well, at my house, my wife had decorated for Christmas before Thanksgiving even came. We had 2 Christmas trees up. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Do you know what month it is? She's not having it. She's getting it done this year.
Yeah, well, we all know. I said, Heather had me decorating like 2 weeks before Thanksgiving because she was like, I'm having surgery. You can kiss my ass. Okay. She's like, I'm going to enjoy my fucking lights. They put you in a good mood. I want to be in a good mood. I need good vibes. I'm like, yes, ma'am. So, yeah. So, all right. So, cool. So, yeah, that's that was Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was fun. And now we're fully ramped into the Christmas spirit. So, we'll be interjecting random holiday shit, much like we did Halloween that you missed out on, right?
All right.
But we'll make it up to you on the Christmas side of things.
Okay.
Drive you batshit crazy. We got a few fun episode ideas, and then we can kind of brainstorm together and see if we've got anything else we can kind of come up with.
No problem.
All right, so let's go on with the Geekly Weekly.
All right, the Geekly Weekly. So first in theaters, we'll do this time. Charlie's Angels, that was dropped 2 weeks ago, and we talked about had a really poorly performing opening weekend. It did $8.6 million compared to its predecessor reboot that did $40 million. I mean, it was a total bomb.
Yeah,
and we talked, of course, about Elizabeth Banks' commentary and blaming everything until she finally got to what's probably one of the right answers anyway, which is the marketing for it was minimal and it didn't really. I think she's probably right, but anyway, we don't want to dwell on it, but we are going to talk about it anyway. So, so it is now at 51 million worldwide. Remember, the budget was estimated at 45 to 55 million. So at this point, it hasn't even covered its budget. It's been 18 days now since release, and on top of that, they spent at least, at what they admitted to, another 50 million in marketing that they still have to make up.
Now, mind you, Ray, I did say that there was a slight side of me which was typically like my perverted old man side. I wanted to go see it because I've got this weird thing for Kristen Stewart.
I think we all do.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about her.
She said,
because
I don't know.
Definitely not something that she's like a moped. I don't want my friends to see me doing it.
It's fun to ride, but you don't want to see your friend. Yeah, have your friends see you do it.
It's like that slutty girl at the prom that nobody would touch, but
you're going to.
Or not. Yeah.
So
there go the sponsors again.
There you go.
There you go.
It typically only takes a little while.
Hey, that's all right. I'm glad I could push that off the cliff for you.
All right. So anyway, I don't think
this thing's $7 goodbye.
Yeah.
Now, do they send them a check?
Direct deposit only.
Ironically, it's paid in wampum. Do you know how hard it is to cash that?
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
So November 22nd, Frozen 2 came out. You guys wanted to have a discussion about that, but before we get there, they were predicting 125 to 155 million for the opening weekend. It hit 130, pretty good, but it's now at 782, or yesterday when I looked, 782 million worldwide. So holy shit, I think they've got it in the bag.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any desire to see this. I know
you didn't go see it?
I told you I was going to go see it so we could talk about it, and then I opted out when my family went.
Ray, did you see it?
Instead.
No.
Okay, so we're not going to ruin anything for him.
Yeah.
No.
However,
No.
you saw it.
I did.
Yes. All right. Overall,
Not bad.
right?
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah.
I had a long list of shit that I was like, man, I keep missing these movies, and my whole family wanted to go see this damn movie, so I was like, okay, fine. It was a fun sequel, fine, right? Okay, it was good. Sitting there watching it with your family. Then there's this moment in the woods when Kristoff starts singing. And, I don't know which one of us is doing feedback. Yeah, probably him.
Probably.
Kristoff starts singing, and the way they cut the scene is like an 80s journey.
Yeah, I thought REO Speedwagon.
I
thought we're making an REO Speedwagon video.
And there's literally a shot in there of him, like he's singing with the reindeer and shit, and they're set up like Queen in Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like this whole segment, and it's an entire song they do.
You forewarned me about this.
I've tried.
I said, hey, listen, guys, just pay attention to that scene, take notes for me, and come back and let me know. And they come back, and they're like, the song was about blah. We don't get why he liked it. And now I understand, because they weren't looking for it.
It had nothing to do with what it was about. It was, that shot was literally like, Heather and I were sitting there in tears.
Yeah, I was
crying. And my kids were like, what the fuck is so funny? Like, Noah's looking at us like, what is wrong with you two? And we're like, we'll explain later.
Yeah.
It was literally like an MTV music video from the 80s.
Okay.
The whole thing. It was, in the very beginning, it was like, really? And then it was like, oh, okay, no, this is on purpose.
Yeah.
You know, like the first few seconds of the song, you're like, it's kind of weird because like they got a shot of him singing and then he's leaning against a tree at the same time singing the next verse, and you're like, that looks really. Oh no, this is okay. And they lean like
even the style of the song is sort
it's
of REO's
very like very like rock ballad, love ballad type of thing. And they lean this thing into this joke so hard, it's like a bike going around a turn, and they never fall off. It's really perfect. They did it perfect. I was like, that for me, that made the whole fucking movie worth it. I was like, all right, you know what? I'm glad I'm here.
That scene's really good, and then there's a funny scene for grown-ups, I think, when Elsa has to go to this far off land, and she has to go down in this sort of pit area, and the whole thing is that water has memory, which I don't agree with. But whatever. Well, because there's an old proverb that you never step in the same body of water twice because it's constantly flowing. So water can't have memory. But anyway, so you get down there.
There's been a talking fucking snowman in 2 movies, and now you're gonna start.
Yeah, and
there you go.
And so
hi, Noah. Noah. Sorry, this is a weekly thing with Noah. Noah's good night, right? That's right. I know you don't want to go to bed. Grumpy. Just tell everybody good night. No, okay.
Not tonight.
Not tonight. No,
it's a quiet.
Night.
I think his shirt's on the back or something.
Probably.
Oh, well.
All right. Love you. No. Okay. It's just
Your zipper's undone.
You dropped your pocket.
So she sees different scenes from what is the first movie, and she sees herself singing "Let It Go," and she does this like
that's That's literally already a meme.
Yeah,
seen it up there.
Yeah, she does this little so she gets it too.
Yeah.
There you go.
Is that me?
Yeah.
For whatever reason, the phones interfere with the coil wires on the headphones. I don't know why.
Way over here.
So when we take phone calls, we have a hookup that you can call my phone and we can hear you. And it does the same thing. We have to have the wire laying just right.
Okay.
It's like being in the 80s. Like, all right, now.
It's weird, too.
Turn the
because
antenna, bub.
Oh, that's right. We had to do this switch. Anyway, sorry. Where were we? Frozen. You guys done with your Frozen conversation?
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
All right. So next on the docket was Knives Out. And why are we talking about that? We wouldn't normally talk about it, but because it's Rian Johnson directing A, and everybody's trying to see if he's actually worth the shit at directing anything. And then B, Chris Evans and Daniel Craig are in it. So how could you not want to watch it anyway?
It looked good.
Its opening weekend was $41.7 million. That's almost double the projections. So I don't know if the Star Wars fans hating on Rian Johnson just rocketed it up because they went to watch it to see if he knew how to make a movie or what. But
I also heard that side note was apparently some people think this is just Rian Johnson saying there's an underlying message in there. Like basically he's saying like rich white people suck, which is a very Rian Johnson thing to do.
Okay, I could see that. So he's sort of pandering to a specific crowd and they're picking up on it.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's rare these days. Now, granted, this isn't a hugely grossing film, but it's rare these days to see something beat projections by twofold. It's pretty crazy because they have a lot of data to look at pre-sales and everything to know generally where things are going to lie. So it's a little nutty, but I think that was it for what had come out recently. Coming up December 13th, there is a remake of Black Christmas. I actually didn't know this. A remake of the 1974 movie Black Christmas, and it's going to be starring Cary Elwes.
Something has jumped on my Facebook like 3 times, and I haven't clicked on it yet, as far as, like, I guess the trailer. So.
Yeah, I missed it.
It's all right. So it wasn't something that... It's almost like... like there's a cult in the college and they have to kill the girls and whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, spoiler alert.
Sorry. No, I
think it's
the remake is generally true to the original and the description of the...
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. Same day, Jumanji: The Next Level comes out. This is a star-studded cast, and it's a movie I don't want to see, but it looks like it's gonna do well.
It's gonna do well.
It got Dwayne Johnson, Karen Gillian, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, Nick Jonas, Madison Eisman. The list goes on. Danny DeVito.
The last one
Danny
was good.
Glover. What?
The last one was good. I liked it.
I don't know that I disliked it. I just don't need to go to a theater to see this movie.
I think it's one of those movies. Did we need another one?
Right.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about a lot of films today. Is the Charlie's Angels? Did we really need it?
We said that. We said that when it came out. Like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
We said that about Joker too, then, and it broke $1 billion in the box office. So
see, honestly, I was looking forward to Joker after the dumpster fire of Suicide Squad. Because honestly,
Jared Leto sucked.
Right, I wanted to see a good Joker, and that a movie focused solely on him is really what I was looking forward to, and I wasn't disappointed by that.
We will talk about that in
we'll
Rumor Mill.
We'll get into the Rumor Mill.
What they are possibly going to do and follow that trend, which is no surprise. Why shouldn't they? But we'll get there. At
least DC had a hit this time.
Yeah, well, that's true. And a big hit at that. We've covered that quite a bit, I think. It is the highest grossing R-rated film of all time at this point. And it blew Deadpool 2 out of the water. I mean, not just a little over. It was 787 million up to 1.3 billion.
Yeah, I think the scientific term is metric shit ton.
Metric shit ton. Yeah, that covers it.
And then fuck you to
Marvel, pretty much.
What that was.
So December 20th, Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker comes out. Of course, we're not going to beat that one to death because we've already done it 100 times. But
and we're going to be beating it.
I do want to talk about the new TV spot, number 10 or 11, whatever the hell it is now. We posted it on the Facebook page. Oh, it's on the website too. So there's a new TV spot out. It came out on Sunday.
That's not the They Can Fly one, right?
Everything is recycled. They start with They Can Fly. It's a 30-second TV spot, so they start with They Can Fly, but they start with it like, oh, they can fly. That's the very first thing you hear, first few seconds. Everything else is recycled, but at the very end of the clip, you remember the scene where they're running down the hallway and they're shooting up stormtroopers and stormtroopers are falling? Same place, but Rey is with them and she's in the front, and what happens is they run into two stormtroopers and she hand waves. And she's like, we're supposed to be here. And the stormtroopers go, oh yeah, okay, you're supposed to be here. Right? So she's apparently mastered Jedi mind tricks in this.
On her own.
Yeah, and it's,
telling you, she's Luke's
who knows
daughter.
What's happening? Who knows what's happening? We're going to have to watch the movie. But anyway, it's the first sort of, they've been, like, seriously, this is the 10th or 11th TV spot, and everything has been roughly recycled material without anything new, just rearranged.
Which is cool.
Now they actually put something new in this TV spot, which is the reason we posted it, because we're not posting all of them. But.
Ray, we'll offline. We'll kind of have conversations on some of the stuff that we've talked about already. So, like some of the shit, like where we thought they were going, kind of, and then like where they wound up. And I'm sure as we get closer to Rise of Skywalker, we will have at least one episode where we're covering all of that.
Okay.
Anyway, so
all right.
We'll get into it.
Okay. So anything else in theaters from anybody? Anything you guys are watching next this month or whatever? I don't.
Not this month.
I captured everything I mildly cared about. But all right, so on to streaming then. So we're going to do a little bit of a new segment here on what's trending. So you guys probably all know that they do sort of an impression-based measurement of what's the most popular show. And so what that means is obviously Netflix would win in just about every battle with 150 million subscribers, right? And that's just by sheer virtue of the number of subscribers they have, not because the show they have is so interesting. So they do something well, I'm not knocking Netflix. I'm just saying the way they do this is instead of doing pure raw subscribers, that is part of the measurement of people that watch it, but they also do impressions and demand, and they're looking on social media to see how much it's talked about, hashtags, stuff like that, right? And so then they do sort of a weird matrix ranking of, well, what's really the most popular? Knowing that Disney Plus only has, 10, 12 million subscribers, whatever it is now at this point, and Netflix has 150 million, how do you compare Stranger Things with Mandalorian, right? And so they do it. So anyway, we'll start going over this in some of the Geekly Weeklies so we can talk about what's really popular with subscribers, not necessarily popular in number of people, I guess is the way to say it.
Okay.
So top of the list this week is The Mandalorian. Probably no surprise to any of us. Might be a surprise to other people. Nobody that's listening, though, I'd imagine.
Yeah. All three of you, let us know if you're shocked.
His Dark Materials was very high. This is in rough order, by the way, but I cut out everything that wasn't geeky, that wasn't sort of our realm. So it's not 1, 2, 3. It might be 1, 3, 5 or something. Anyway, His Dark Materials was the next thing up on HBO. I've been watching this with the family. It's actually
You said it was good.
It's a good adaptation. I think they've done really well with it. This is based on Philip Pullman's books, his Dark Materials.
Okay.
If you saw the Golden Compass movie,
Yeah.
Golden Compass was covering maybe a quarter or a third of the book storyline. This series is doing more than that, and it's also more drawn out and tells more of the story. And so it's pretty interesting. It is kid friendly though. I mean, it's not anything rough or you know what I mean. It's very, there are dark themes to it, but they're done in a certainly PG-13. I don't know what the actual rating is, to be honest with you, but I'm letting my 7 and 9-year-old watch it. And there's nothing wrong with it as far as I'm concerned. But it is interesting. C, which is on the Apple TV Plus service. I really want to see this, but I'm not going to pay for another streaming service.
I agree. I like Jason Momoa, but not enough to subscribe to another.
So the premise here,
my wife might.
is I just thought maybe borrowing some ideas from Giver, but some kind of disease struck the world and everybody is blind. Everybody is blind. Nobody can see. So it's just a thing, and it's the way it is, right? But then 2 twins are born that actually have sight. And so it's sort of a changing dynamic or whatever in this story. I really want to see this. Jason Momoa plays one of the main characters in it. But so society now has to figure out, like, okay, well, if people are going to be born with sight, what the hell's going on? None of us know what that is, how that works. And it seems like a really interesting concept. But again, I'm not going to pay for another streaming service.
Right.
So I hope somebody can tell us. If you're out there listening, let us know if this is great or not. It's certainly trending very high. Watchmen on HBO, which I think some of us here have watched. That was next on the list. I think I'm 4 episodes in. I'm behind because of all the other competition. John, where are you at? Oh, you're probably... No. All right, nobody's caught up. Well, that's, of course, based on a DC comic book.
Right.
But anyway, it's very different than what you would expect.
That's
probably.
what I've heard, so I've kind of stayed away from it.
Next on the list is Man in the High Castle. That's on Amazon.
Yep.
It is in its 4th and final season. We talked about this a few times before. I know none of you guys watch it really, but it's sort of an alternate timeline where
the Axis powers
won World War II, and the U.S. is split, and roughly half of it's owned by Germany and half it's owned by Japan.
Okay. Yeah.
And so they played out 4 seasons now.
Yeah.
So anyway, so the 4th season's out, and that's trending high. Daybreak on Netflix. You guys, we talked about this a couple weeks ago.
Very, very good show.
It's sort of a... It's very... it's got Zombieland-esque sort of themes behind it. It's a little bit comedic.
But they're very different type of zombies.
Yeah.
They remember their last memory.
Yeah,
which
and so
is very weird.
Well, that idea was used in Shaun of the Dead, I think. What's the one where they hide in the mall? We talked about it during
Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead. Sorry,
where they return to
people try to go back to the mall, and
right,
it was like a commentary on consumerism and whatever. But ultimately, the zombies remembered, and they went back. And these do the same thing, except these zombies talk.
These zombies talk, and some of them are not full-on zombies.
Yeah.
Some have full memory of their life and become other people within this dichotomy that now is society that they live in. And I highly recommend this show because I was like, I looked at the thing and I'm like, oh, another zombie show? I don't know. And I started watching it. I'm like, it's like Fast Times at Ridgemont High with Dawn of the Dead. Yeah. It's exactly the only way I can describe
that's probably
it.
A good way
And so I would say, check it out. I think you'll like it.
You got to make your way past episode 1. I felt like that was a little
drawn out.
Yeah.
It was almost like Zombieland, where you have to describe his rules and everything. But once you get past that, boy, it's a roller coaster.
There's some really funny stuff too.
Yeah.
I hate to spoil something for you, but it'll be super early, so you can't be mad at me. But he's
it's not going to stop us from being mad at
probably not. So he's up against some guys for some reason. I won't say why. And this guy's giving him the finger, right? And he thinks he's going to chop his finger off. But he's never done this before. Yeah. I don't think he's ever even held a sword.
He just found the sword.
Yeah.
Literally the first
So he thinks he's going to chop his sword off, and he just hauls back and swings, and he hits the guy in the side of the hand, and the sword gets stuck in the bone.
Yep.
And the dude's like, oh, did you do that on purpose? He's like, no, I was trying to cut your finger off.
That's when you knew that show was serious. Like it became a whole other thing after seeing that one spot.
Nice.
So, yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'm going to now. Damn it. okay, fine.
All right, second season. I'll move on. Sorry, second season of Castle Rock. That's based on the Stephen King. Well, it's not a specific book. It's characters that have existed in that place
in Stephen King's books.
Yeah, and I know it started. It started in season 1 with a like a misery sort of storyline. Early, younger, but I don't know what they're doing for season 2. To be honest, I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to get around to it one day.
Someday.
The Boys is trending, which is no surprise to us.
Have you seen The Boys?
We
binge
watched
the first season, and it was amazing.
Yeah, we binge watched the whole thing, and then we did
I did too.
We did a special review episode with I think 3 or 4 guests.
No, that was Joker.
Oh, that was Joker. You're right.
We had
Boys. We had one guest.
Yeah.
My aunt dialed in for that.
Yeah,
one,
she actually called in. We tested out the phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was kind of fun.
Cool.
Yeah, we all agree though. We all love that. Last one I had on the list is Raising Dion, which I have not watched yet. I've actually been kind of avoiding it. It looks silly to me, but the concept of it is that there's a widow mom, and she has a son that's I guess maybe in the previews he looks like he's maybe 5 to 7 or something. He's not very old.
Yeah, he's got powers or something.
He's got superpowers.
My daughter started watching
it. Sort of feels a little bit Shazam-y the way they do, but maybe it's not. I don't know.
Shazam-y.
Yeah, Shazam-y. I'll coin that term.
Somebody, I was going to say, write that down because I don't think that's been used like that.
ShamWow.
Anyway, so she's trying to keep his powers hidden away from people, and she doesn't want to know that he has them, but also trying to figure out what the hell's going on. That's the premise of the show. So I haven't watched any yet. But,
my daughter watched some of it, and that's all I know.
That's all you know. All right, so what's coming up on streaming? Already at this point, all the Austin Power movies dropped on Netflix at the beginning of December. So if you want to watch those, go on ahead. Superhero-esque movie Hancock, Amazon dropped on Amazon Prime.
Did he call us?
December 2nd, Night Flyers dropped. Season 1 of Night Flyers on Netflix. So that is based on the George R.R. Martin novella and the short stories he wrote. I watched the first episode last night. It's actually pretty interesting. It's got a bit of a Event Horizon feel to it. So there's a spaceship and something happens on it, and they basically send out a call at the very end of the it's 2 minutes into the episode. Don't ever come to this ship. This isn't a distress call, kind of thing. But then, of course, somebody has to go and investigate. So anyway, it seems interesting at this point. I don't know if it's going to be good or not. I'll have to keep watching. But December 5th, that's in a day or two, right? Yep. Thor Ragnarok hits Disney Plus. The previous deal that they had with Netflix is over, so it comes back to Disney Plus forever.
Nice.
That is, of course, probably the most comedic of the Thor movies.
Yeah, it's like a buddy. It's like a buddy comedy.
Best one.
Yeah.
Buddy comedy. Makes me think of Buddy Jesus. Dogma. The Mandalorian episode.
See, every episode we'd like to see how many tangents we can go on and encompass all of the Geekosphere in one
Podcasting in
comment.
a nutshell.
Yeah,
all it is.
So the Mandalorian episodes, this is just a forewarning, not that we need to tell you these are coming, but there is a shift in the schedule for some reason. Maybe there's a reason behind it. Season 5, episode 5, chapter 5, whatever we're calling it, is going to come out on December 6th, like normal.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 6 will come out on the 13th, like normal. Then they're doing a shift. For some reason, the 7th chapter will come out on the 18th of December, right before Rise of Skywalker.
Wonder why.
So there's 2 questions here. One, is there a tie-in to Rise of Skywalker? Because we didn't just get here. It's not like this episode was going to be on the 20th and they bumped it up 2 days. No, they also accelerated the beginning release of the episodes so that you had the first one on a Tuesday and then whatever it was. It was the 12th and the 15th, something like that. Anyway.
Yeah. So this is designed by purpose.
So is there something in episode 7 that's going to be a tie-in to Rise of Skywalker? That is the question.
When he brings Baby Yoda to Luke?
Possibly. The other option is that if you look at the credited characters that have been released so far, Moff Gideon shows up in episode 7. So is there a First Order tie-in there? Does that give us an idea of how the First Order got started from Empire to First Order? Is there some sort of shift that he might be a member of?
Could be.
Or it could be nothing at all. It could be, oh fuck, we shifted the front and this was going to drop on the 20th and we can't have it on the same day as Rise of Skywalker.
It could very much be that. Like,
so
that would be sort of funny if we're sitting here trying to figure out, like, maybe it's this, and they just realized, oh,
right during the credits, there's just a little blurb in there from Favreau going, Yeah, no, sorry. It's just,
Didn't want to compete with another Star Wars.
Well, there's some
franchise.
argument to say it certainly can't be a big tie-in because of all the licensing issues with Sky. There's no Disney Plus in Europe other than the Netherlands. There is no Disney Plus in Europe, right? So, but they're getting the movie right after we are. So if there was a tie-in there, and then like, oh well, you won't understand that now. But in March when you get Disney Plus.
But I'm wondering if they're okay. Like I said before, I said I thought maybe in this you're going to see the Mandalorian bring the Yodalorian to a de-aged Luke Skywalker, right? So he'll be 5 years after Return of the Jedi when he's just thinking about building the Academy again, right? The one that Kylo or Ben will eventually turn to Kylo and destroy, right? And I said, what if within the show you only see him bring the thing to him, right? He's going to help the baby develop his powers, whatever. Now you jump into the movie, and all you've ever seen so far of this temple and the Academy has been from Luke sitting there in front of a flaming building, right? That's all you've seen. So you know Kylo turned some of the students dark. They all destroyed it, killed everybody else. As far as he knew, everybody was dead, which I've also said includes his daughter, Rey. We'll get to that later. But what if this baby Yoda at that point would be, now he'd be like 80, right?
So a teenager.
Yeah, so he'd be a teenager. What if if you see that flashback again, but then you see it pan to the other side of that flaming building, and that thing is on the other side, like Yodalorian's on the other side of the flaming building, thinking everybody else is dead too, because he's out like
holding a gas can and a match.
He's like got a basket of berries. He was out there picking up berries or some shit. And he's like, what the fuck happened? So he didn't get killed either, you know. And then it's taken him this long to find anybody or whatever. You know what I mean?
You should submit that till we got this covered. I think they'll publish it.
That was basically his fuck you in the theory. That's what that was. Wow. All right.
No, there's a lot going on there, John. I'm not sure if that's all going to happen, but I definitely could see a tie-in
could
with
be
the
thrown
show.
into
Something could happen.
A brief flashback.
All right. So
I also said this movie needs to be 4 fucking hours, but
yeah,
you're going to give me 3.5 hours of the fucking Irishman. You're not going to give me even 3 hours of the last Skywalker? Nope. Fuck you.
144 minutes.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Let's hit the gas and turn this thing off. Wow. Go ahead.
December 20th, The Witcher drops. We've talked about The Witcher a ton of times.
The what?
The Witcher? Oh, have you heard of The Witcher?
Have you heard of The Witcher?
There's a running joke here with we were talking about The Witcher one night. It was an upcoming thing on a Geekly Weekly, and
we had a 5-minute conversation about
John's
it. Heather
wife was
right
in here while we were having the conversation, and then when we were done with it, in the background, she says, "Hey, have you guys heard about The Witcher?"
So now it's become our ongoing thing. It's like at random, one of us would be like, "Hey, you heard about The Witcher?" Anytime one of us brings something up that's already been covered, immediately back to that.
So, The Witcher, they did a pre-screening for critics where they sent them the files on the computer or whatever and let them watch it. So those reviews are starting to come out already. They're all super positive. There was one that I think I meant to put in here and didn't, but it was something to the effect of it makes the Game of Thrones battle scenes look like somebody that was drunk made them. I'm like,
that's what I heard. That's what I heard too. It puts Game of Thrones battles to shame.
Wow.
I'm like, this ought to be good.
So for those that haven't heard it, this will probably be the 5th time we talk about it, but The Witcher is it's based on a book series that became a video game, but it's this guy's a monster hunter who doesn't know how he fits in the world, and he feels like a monster hunter for hire, I suppose is the way to say it. You know, like, hey, I got a dragon I need slayed. But he doesn't know how he fits in the world, and he feels like maybe people are actually worse than these beasts he's killing because of all the political stuff that goes on and how people backstab each other. So I hope it'll be interesting. Again, the early critic reviews are really good, and we don't have to wait much longer to watch it. And Netflix is going to drop... No, December 20th.
December 20th.
Yeah, and Netflix is going to drop the entire season first day, so you can binge it right away if you want to. Not that we have time to binge anything with all the other stuff we're watching. But,
no shit.
So December 24th, the 2nd season of Lost in Space comes out. I love the first one. I love this reboot series. I think it's great. I
haven't watched it. I haven't. Just didn't get my attention.
I really like the vibe of it. They really modernized it. I mean, the robot's probably obvious, but that's where they started. But everything about it seems very futuristic and realistic, I guess, to some extent.
Okay.
Now, there's tropes that they play on in here, and
Right.
don't get me wrong, but it's definitely a good remake. You should watch it if you have time.
Will do.
December 20th.
You're gonna quickly run out of time hanging out.
Yeah,
with
no
us,
shit. December 26th, Star Wars: The Last Jedi will come onto Disney Plus. I know people have been waiting for that because they love Rian Johnson and they love the quality of films he makes. And,
Absolutely.
So we're excited for that. We're really excited for that. And then December 31st, all the Pierce Brosnan Bond films. So that's Tomorrow Never Dies, Die Another Day. I'm forgetting a couple of them, but they're all going to drop on Netflix as well. And we talked about this, I think, last week. But if you have Amazon, you can already watch everything from Dr. No to Die Another Day.
Yeah.
They're all there.
Absolutely.
So we're only missing a few of the modern ones now, and hopefully they'll drop on something soon, and you can watch all the Bond movies ever.
I love Bond movies.
That's sort of a lost thing
It
now.
is. Yeah.
Now that virtually every movie is an action movie, but
Yeah.
there was a time when only Bond movies were sort of action movies.
Yeah.
Even back in the 70s, when people today would kind of laugh at that era of Bond movies, but I grew up in that.
There's
Yeah.
something
And
to it.
it
Yeah.
was, like that was the shit.
You look
When I
back
saw
though, you do look back though, and you're like, "There's no way Roger Moore was pulling that off." Like that guy looks like he's 60 when he was 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you got to remember that sort of competed with Pink Panther.
Yeah.
Because those movies would be right
I
alongside.
love the Pink Panther
and
movies.
so you had that kind of extreme comedy, but then you
Yeah.
had this action.
Yeah.
And that's why those movies to me still hold up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so I was just looking today. I threw a note in here. I was looking today to see when Indiana Jones was going to be on Disney Plus. Apparently, the answer is never.
Never.
They have a long-term deal for distribution elsewhere.
But
But
after Kingdom of Crystal Skull and Mutt, I'm okay. They can keep it for a while.
well, okay. But what I didn't realize until today is you can actually watch all the Indiana Jones movies on Netflix.
Yes, they are.
All four of them are on
Is
there.
that right?
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
they're all there.
So I just thought I'd pass that along because at least the first two are worth watching.
I was thinking about getting the box set. I was this close, and then they were on Netflix. I'm like, why am I going to spend the money?
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I did put it in the notes. I put it in later. So, screeners of The Witcher. The comment was, makes Game of Thrones look like two drunks fighting.
Which, ironically, some of the Game of Thrones fights were two drums fighting.
Yeah. And so it's worth note, too, that even though this hasn't dropped yet, Netflix already ordered the second season. And so Paul
It's
and I...
becoming a thing
Yeah,
lately
Paul and I were
where
talking
there's-
about this before.
There's a handful of like Mandalorian, The Boys, whatever.
So
before it even gets done dropping, they're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
get us another one of these."
You remember the way they used to do it? They would run a pilot. If the pilot were decent, they would get a season going. And you'd have to wait episode 1 to 2 for a while.
Yeah.
And then if season 2 was successful, maybe an episode or two prior to the ending, they would say, okay, we're going to announce that we're making, the next season or whatever.
Yeah.
Now it's like, this hasn't even dropped. It hasn't even dropped yet. They've recorded, they filmed it.
Yeah.
They finished the production, but it hasn't dropped yet. They've already ordered the second season. Mandalorian, 3 episodes in, Favreau is on Instagram saying, greetings from the set of season 2. Like,
Yeah. Well, they announced that prior to even that. They were
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, no, we're doing a season 2 already."
and so I don't know what the driver is for that.
I think it's because of competition. When you really think about it, Netflix was the only game in town for a very long time. Now you have like 10, 15 streaming services. They all have to compete. So, of course, they're going to hitch their horse to anything that comes out. If they think it's good, they're just going to greenlight the thing. And whether it's bad or not, they don't care.
Yeah.
They have no choice. I
Yeah.
mean, we were talking about this earlier. I have Shudder. Now, not a lot of people have Shudder unless you're into horror, because that's all it is. Well, they did this anthology series based on the movie Creepshow. It is fantastic. I don't think it was a month before it came out when they announced that season 2 will in fact happen mid next year. So it's a constant battle between all these streaming services to keep their people spending the money.
Right.
They have no choice, because if
Right.
they don't, Netflix is the old dog. They'll go right back to, whether you hate them, love them, or otherwise. Look,
They're going to go back to what they know.
Irishman, prime example.
Yeah.
Who the hell knew that was coming out? Bang, there it is. And it's a Scorsese film on Netflix.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're going to go back if you don't like it. And
I knew it was coming out. Sorry, because I listened to too many fucking podcasts like ours.
And that did release in the theaters, did it not?
So they did. They did a
a
theatrical, limited theatrical release starting December 1st,
right,
or November 1st. Sorry, was it November 1st? Yeah, it was November 1st.
Oh, okay,
in November 1st. Sorry, and then that was limited though. I think it was 143 theaters or something. It was really small. Yeah, and it only did. Well, actually, it did a lot for how many theaters it was in, but it only did like six.
Let's save it for the Irish
$6
movie.
million.
Man, let me tell you.
We're running long again.
How long is this? We're almost done. We're not too far off. Okay.
Yeah, well, it's hard for me to tell because my printer ran out of ink, so now my Geekly Weekly has a stutter.
We're right in the middle in other news, so we're going to transition to another news. So John sent me the mention of the Ghostbusters 3 trailer
Afterlife.
thing,
Yep.
so then I had to go look up. So the trailer is going to be released on December 7th. So in just is that Friday maybe?
I believe it is.
Yeah.
So this will be, of course, a full reboot, as we already knew. They're not going to do a sequel thing. The trailer will be 2.5 minutes. They said on the release Saturday. Thanks. The film won't come out until October 7th of next year, so we got a long ways to go. It's almost a year away. But it is going to have Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson, Sigourney Weaver, and Annie Potts in it.
Yep.
So almost the whole original cast. Notably, it's missing Harold Ramis, who of course died in 2014.
But who may be in it as Ghost.
Which would be ironic.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
So there was an interview in which I'm trying to remember who was talking. Well, it doesn't matter, but they said they've actually done a tribute to him in this movie.
Yeah.
Really?
Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
So we'll see how that plays out. There are some new faces here. Paul Rudd is going to be in this.
Yeah.
Finn Wolfhard, who plays the Mike in Stranger Things.
Yeah.
So he'll be in this as well. I understand that the kids are sort of getting involved in the world of the Ghostbusters thing, but I don't know that they're.
I'm wondering if
actual
a couple of them
Ghostbusters.
are probably maybe like Egon's kids or some shit like that.
Well, that was the theory that was
or...
going on for a while. They said there were some sort of relatives of Egon, and somehow they got the equipment, whether it's through eBay or it was just dropped off at their house or something like that.
Yeah, like they
That's
find
the
it
rumor.
or some shit.
Yeah.
So I want it. It'll be interesting to see.
On a side note, just because we're talking about Ghostbusters, if you haven't seen the movies that made us, which is the new.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we talked about this last week.
Oh my god,
yeah.
the Ghostbusters episode! I had to watch it 3 times. That was that good. I'm like,
okay,
there was so much shit in that you would never
really.
Oh yeah,
because I'm big into the toys that made us.
Yes,
I love that series. I want to get into the movies.
The movies that made us is amazing. And the Ghostbusters episode for me was the best.
Because in fact, something that I mentioned to these guys, one of the holiday episodes that we're going to do because of the toys that made us, whatever. I want to do something where we kind of talk about toys that we had growing up,
right?
Because of Christmas, things
absolutely.
that you look forward to, and kind of compare it to maybe some of the shit today, whatever. Do basically like a toys that made the geeks kind of thing,
Absolutely.
And then we can kind of dwell on the toys that made us, the movies that made us, series on Netflix.
Yeah, so we talked about it last week, but I will recap real quick. November 15th, The Toys That Made Us Season 3 dropped on Netflix.
Awesome.
And then November 29th, which was just less than a week ago, The Movies That Made Us, which is a new series, same producers, same concept, dropped on Netflix as well. So you can watch all of them because they dropped the entire season at once. Where the hell were we? I don't remember what we were doing. Oh, Ghostbusters. We were talking Ghostbusters. Yeah. Okay, so...
Ghostbusters, what you want?
So they did also announce the official title is now going to be Ghostbusters Afterlife. And for anybody that was crying about it, the ghost in the emblem is holding up, the number 3.
Yep.
So that's your clarity that this is the third. But Sony was considering other titles that they let loose, and none of them are really that bad, I guess. Proton Summer was one, which whatever. It wouldn't have been terrible. The next one was
Ghostbusters,
Believe.
We're Not Women.
The next one was Believe.
Ghostbusters, forget that thing ever happened.
Believe, which feels a little bit hokey and too sort of pandering modern. Believe. Okay. But the last one, well, this isn't the last one they considered, but there's another one they considered that really made me laugh is called Ready to Bust.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
And it's just, the whole movie is just Ray in the bed with the ghost.
Yeah.
That would be busting nuts.
Yes,
anyway,
Jinx, I hear you.
I thought it was worth mentioning. Ready
My
to
cat's
Bust
in
is
here
probably,
losing her fucking mind.
I don't know how that made it into any sort of finalist pool for names, but I mean, maybe it was supposed to be comedic. I don't know. It certainly made me laugh.
I don't know, but wasn't it like South Dakota that had that whole anti-drug campaign where it's
what was
meth?
that?
We're on it.
We're on it. Yeah, that's right. We're on it.
They spent like $500,000 on that.
Yeah.
But that was the point. Like, it was a dumb slogan, but that was the point to like make it, wait a minute, what the fuck did you just say?
Got your attention.
Yeah. I'm not sure if Ready to Bust, well, again, maybe it was. Maybe you're right. Maybe it was the point. They were going to try to make a... But then they had to balance between, do we want to do the Believe thing or Ready... You know what? Both of these are inappropriate. All right, so I put this on the webpage. I thought it was hilarious, though. Somebody created a Change.org petition, which is begging to make Danny DeVito the next Wolverine.
Oh, yes.
in the MCU.
I've seen this.
And I only mention it because when I looked on Sunday, it had over 55,000 signatures.
You people need help.
Right, this has got to be like the Area 51 thing,
yeah,
right?
Totally.
Where like somebody like trolled, they're like, oh well, this will be funny. We'll put this up, and then
there's like one shot of like old Wolverine in not Old Man Logan, but in Earth X or Paradise X, whatever it is, where it's kind of like Marvel's version of Kingdom Come that they did with Alex Ross, and he is like he's older, he's married to Jean, his hair is receding, he's got a beer gut. I mean, he's like me at Wolverine. You know, what the fuck are you doing? So yeah,
I really hope it's a joke. I really hope there aren't even 55,000 MCU fans that think this is the way to go. I really hope it's not serious.
In this world, have you seen some of these fucking people?
You're right.
They're the same 55,000 that thought like Captain Marvel was not a good movie, and that she should have been, in makeup longer or something like that.
Yeah,
it's those
smile.
Yeah, right.
I've only seen in recent memory, I've only seen one bigger troll than this, and that was when Elon Musk came out with that truck and said this is going to be the new Tesla truck.
Or when he said the windows weren't breakable, so they decided to throw a rock at it and went, "Oh shit!"
Awesome. Oh man, was that awesome?
So you guys probably remember that everybody and their mother was trying to do, the Avengers Endgame needs to get a Grammy nomination, and it's got to be for Tony Stark's part or Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
And
he came out and said no.
Yeah, well, of course he did, and anybody that's realistic said, but it got a Grammy nomination.
All right.
They were announced earlier this week. There was a Grammy nomination, but it's not for what you think. It was for Best Soundtrack, which I could actually understand.
Sure.
And then last thing I had on here was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. There is formally and officially a sequel coming. It'll be out April 8th of 2022. It's a long ways from now.
Yes.
But
because I think we briefly spoke about it the last time all three of us were together.
Yep.
And the first thing I said, because Heather walked in and she was like, why the fuck is this movie taking so long to come out? And I said, I get it. The animation takes a long time, and we established that part. But to her point, much like these Netflix things, you knew you had a hit walking out the gate with this thing. The minute it dropped, they should have been like, what did I say? Get all those Spider-Man together. Yeah. They're already changing the fucking table. Just stop whatever they're doing. Get on Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's right.
I know, it's ironic that I have a limit in my house.
Yeah.
Shut up.
All right, so last bit is what's coming up for us this month. We've already talked about some of this, but we'll just rehash real quick. We're going to continue to do Mandalorian episodes.
This will be for Ray's benefit, so he knows what he's getting himself into.
Yeah. Mandalorian episodes will come out 3 to 4 days after the show airs, give or take. Also, at or around the same time, the Easter egg articles will publish on the website. So you
probably after the Rise of Skywalker, we'll do like that December 23rd, I think, is when we decided we're going to do the episode. And we'll just do like a big Mandalorian / Rise of Skywalker shit show, or how was that great, or
that
whatever.
Does sound like a mess. I don't know if we should combine these two things.
Fuck it.
one might taint the other for eternity.
He said taint. Look, I took off Christmas Eve, so fuck it. If we're here until 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm good.
Oh, nice. We are going to do an Irishman review, perhaps tonight. If not, we'll do it next week. We are going to do the podcast, our holiday special, the Christmas one you wanted to do, John. What do we remember? Nostalgia Christmas stuff, right?
Yeah, and kind of like we'll roll that into like that Toys That Made Us kind of thing, like we were talking about.
Okay. We are going to do a best worst holiday movie, as we talked about last week. We may publish that as an article on the website. We'll see how motivated we are. We're going to do a review bash of the Star Wars holiday special.
Yes, we are. Essentially, we're trying to come up with a catchy name to it. Basically, it's kind of like a how was this made kind of,
Okay.
Put that anywhere. But, yeah, something like that,
Okay.
Like it's what if Geeks, so like, why if Geeks, or something. I don't know. We'll do something. Why the fuck did you do this?
And then Rise of Skywalker review we'll do before the end of the month. That'll drop on the 20th. We'll try to do it quickly.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. That's all I got. That's all I got.
That's everything for the Geekly Weekly.
Anybody
got any other news they want to talk about before we close it out?
I'm good.
No? All right. Well, cool. Ray, where can we find you?
Oh,
Mr. Special.
Where am I? Oh, yeah, thearcadearchives.com.
There we go.
You can reach me over there.
All right. And
all right. Check out the Introducing Ray episode if you want to know more about
it. Yeah, there you go.
You don't want to know anything.
Ray's backstory. His origin story.
His origin story.
Ray's dark origin story.
I was bit by something radioactive. There you go. That's all you need to know.
Bitten by a radioactive microphone.
That's right.
Jesus Christ. All right. Check us out at whatifgeeks.com, whatifgeeks@gmail.com, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and all that happy shit. All right, we'll check you guys later. Good night, Tony.
Good night, Elsa.
Good night, Ma.
Good night, everybody.
There we go.